onward towards an adventure for us. Hi, so I'm Christa Hill, and I am the publishing assistant for Audio Listening Magazine, and I'm really excited to be talking to Renee about friendship and platonic love for this edition, the February's edition of the magazine. Recently, Renee and I went to visit a community garden here in Atlanta where we produce Audio Listening Magazine, and it was really exciting to get invited because at the time I was actually feeling rather lonely and like with nothing really to do. And Renee was like, hey, would you like to join me at the community garden and just get a day of activity and do something as friends? And I was super excited about it. But then she texts like, oh, just wear your, muddiest clothes or your rattiest things, like just something that you don't mind if it gets dirty. And I texted back, what do I do if I don't have anything like that in my closet? I mean, and I have to say that I have traveled to many different places and people have taken me to visit farms and community gardens and everything. And they're like, oh, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. But I really don't do that. I don't have the wardrobe or the experience. And though I like gardening as an activity, I don't have that much exposure.
So Krista and I did a bit of planting seedlings so that they would grow to feed those who visit our food pantries. And we got to work directly. It was so nice because it was just you, me, and then Taffany Hyatt, who is the gardening lead manager of the nonprofit.
Taffany, as we were talking, just like planting and gardening, we were talking about food and how it grows and everything. But Taffany was like, yeah, if you guys are getting hungry, it'll be really nice to go and visit maybe a Jamaican restaurant. So she was like, yeah, like she's like Jamaican food. I know all about it because I am Jamaican myself. And so there's a great place like really close to here. And Renee and I got super excited because we were like, oh yeah, like I'm always looking for good Jamaican food. And Renee was looking to try it. So onward towards an adventure for us.
Yes. The restaurant that we tried was called Eat Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looked like, to me, it almost looked like just a private little home, like a
Mm-hmm.
cottage, buffet style looking, but it
Mm-hmm.
was behind glass. And you could, the food servers would just like scoop up a plate into like a foam takeout.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and like one of the things that was nice is that so it was like a very family feel because when I went, I
Yes.
wasn't sure what I wanted to order because I've had jerk chicken before, but I've never had like the other side dishes. So I asked the guy at the front, I was like, well, I want to do jerk chicken, but I'm not sure if I should get plain rice or the rice and peas. I don't know what's going to be good. And he was like, you should absolutely get rice and peas.
And when I was looking at the menu, I was hoping I could try some of the dried fish for breakfast, but at the time it wasn't available.
It was
It
past
was the
breakfast
wrong
time.
time. Oh, okay, it was past breakfast time.
I think it probably would be delicious, and we'll just have to go back another time. Yeah. So Renee and I met through my sisters and mutual friends who had been like spending time in LA with Renee already. She was probably one of the few people that they were close to in their like early years in Los Angeles. But that would be about 12 or so years ago now when they first met and became friends. And so I met Renee at a dinner party that was like an activity that they set up for me before I went to college. They were like, oh, come on out to Los Angeles. You can hang out, like enjoy the beaches and meet some of our friends. And so we went over to Renee's for dinner and we told stories and ate delicious food. I went to college and Renee moved away and different things changed. So we kept in touch mainly through email and text and letters. And I always felt like it was good to have like a pen pal, but it's actually a friendship that has built like purely out of message communication. And I recently developed more of a passion for a podcast as of last year. I started listening to tons and tons of them. And I just want to be able to see more voices who like they have a lot to contribute and a lot of different stories to put in. And super excited to like basically make my audio listening debut. I've been here for a while, but I pitched to you like my food and identity or like food and culture idea because as you notice, like even through our friendship, like there's kind of a theme of food that we had dinner together, we went to the garden together, we go to grocery stores together, that like food is very important to me. And I feel like it's a great way to get to know people. Like food is fellowship, food builds friendships. And so I am starting kind of to compile different stories about food and like that help make us who we are or help reach other cultures or kind of bring people together in a certain space. And so that's kind of what I'm working on for the magazine. So stay tuned.
We're particularly excited because, um, like you mentioned, you're from Alabama.
Mhm.
So, as far as regional expertise, you've got that, but you want what you pitched to me was so awesome because you take that and you springboard a little further and cock this in your head. Like, what stories will belong, what stories won't belong.
Well, so the way that I'm kind of going to pull our stories together for that issue is to think about how like cuisine is influenced by other places as well as like the people who settled there. So in the South, like we have very particular cuisine that if you like, even if you're in like another state like Los Angeles are going to say like of another city like Los Angeles, they're going to say like, oh, Southern barbecue or whatever, because like the South is where you get your barbecue, like the South is where you get your fried green tomatoes, the South is where you get your cheese grits and or like your gumbos or whatever. And so because we're in Georgia, I want to focus on that type of cuisine and other people's experiences of it. So if you come from another country, like learning to cook this type of food or like learning from the type of food that is already here, that's something that's really exciting to me. And how it like the Southern cuisine basically has it's a culture of its own because it tells you where you are. So looking at that as like a roadmap, something that I'm excited about.
I'm very excited about that. So, you'll have to stay tuned.
Onward towards an adventure for us.